As soon as you have enough clients that have gone through your journey, that will give you a clear understanding what the milestones are and what the deliverables should be for your client to be successful in that flagship offer you have, that's when you should start thinking about getting someone to support you with delivery.
Welcome to the Ethical Scaling Podcast, your guide to navigating online business with integrity. Join Jay and Ben on this epic journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or new to the game, get ready for insights, strategies, and a dash of humor. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and get ready to deep dive into the art and science of ethical scaling. From client success to boosting lifetime value. Plus, learn how to turn clients into your best advocates. Ready to scale ethically? Let's dive in.
What's up, and welcome to Season 2 of the Ethical Scaling Podcast. My name is Ben McClellan. I'm joined with my prettier, smarter business partner, Joao Goncalves. We call him Jay. Today, what we're going to be talking about is building your client success team. We're going to talk about different things. When is the right time, mistakes we see, how do we think about capacity, all the different facets that we work with our consulting clients on. We're going to give you guys a peek behind the curtain and share our insights, the stories, the battle wounds, so that you guys can take this knowledge and really build both an effective and efficient client success team. Jay, welcome back to Season 2 here, my friend.
I was excited to get Season 2 rolling. After Season 1, we got some really good feedback, some really good insights, and people asked us more questions, which I think, why don't we use like real questions we get from clients and people we interact with to give you the knowledge and the information that our clients are actually using to actually help them scale? Because I think it's important to understand Ethical Scaling Podcast. We have a company called Ethical Scaling, and most of the people we work with, they're actually trying to scale. And a big connection between scaling and having a client success team in place is that that's part of the scaling process.
Yeah. And, I think probably the most common thread we see amongst owners is, I'm still doing delivery. No one can do it as good as me. Who do I hire? I think they have to be experts. They have to be subject matter experts. They're going to cost too much. Like, these are all the things that come up when we're looking at, okay, how do we help this owner both back out of fulfillment, right? And grow a team that can be there long-term and serve their clients actually at a higher level than the owners are serving them, right?
Yep. And I think timing, it's very crucial. That's the question we get the most, like, when is the right time? And that's when someone is at that moment in their business where they know how to find clients. They have some form of acquisition in place and they start thinking, can I still do some delivery and back out of sales? If I'm going to give my honest advice here and my feedback on things I've seen over the years, is that if I had to go with one or another, I would outsource client success first, then I would do sales. Because that's one of the biggest mistakes we've seen, is that they get out of sales and they have this expectation that someone else can do sales for them and close at the same percentage they were closing before. And it's much easier to train someone to deliver than what it is to train someone to close with the same level of confidence that you have. And because it comes from a place of credibility and trusting the systems you have in place. Like, when you're doing sales as an owner, you do believe in your product. You do believe in your service. So it's a lot easier for you to have the conviction to show up for a call and actually close someone. And you do understand delivery as well. So you can talk about the details, the nitty gritty. You can go as granular as you need to go to close a sale. On the other hand, it's not that hard. And I don't want to make it sound easier than it is to find someone that can do delivery for you. We just need to talk about like the timing, what it looks like, some of the pitfalls and mistakes. I think if we double down on timing, which I think is the most common question, I would say as soon as you have enough clients that have gone through your journey, that will give you a clear understanding what the milestones are and what the deliverables should be for your client to be successful in that flagship offer you have, that's the timing. That's when you should start thinking about getting someone to support you with delivery. At the same time, ideally, you have somehow found a consistency in your acquisition. Because if you have 3 clients you don't know if you're going to get the extra three the next month, maybe you have to wait for a little bit. And I know it sucks that you're still doing fulfillment and sales, but I think you need to wait a little bit longer until you have somehow a steady flow of leads and people looking to get your support and help before you start moving ahead and getting someone to do the full delivery for you.
Yeah. And I think, we're going to talk about different mistakes, right? One of the mistakes that we see a lot is owners will try and hire someone who's like really junior, or maybe they'll try and use a VA to replace themselves or come into client success and be that first team member. And here's, at least from what I've seen, you want to find someone who, they don't have to be a client success director level person, right? But you want someone who's great at relationships. And in my opinion, you want someone who can refine your systems and processes. Because whenever we look at when the owner is like heavily involved in fulfillment, it's probably 80 or 90% of the time, their systems and processes aren't great. And a lot of them still live in the owner's mind, right? So for that first hire, again, they don't have to be an expert. They don't have to be the most senior person, but having the skills of greater relationships and also some integrator type skills is a huge asset to owners, right?
Yeah, and again, we need to understand like that first hire doesn't need to be perfect, but ideally they're going to help you make everything better. So again, efficiency wouldn't be my goal with that first hire. Effectiveness is. If they can make your system more effective, if they can download your genius into something that's repeatable, that's going to be one of the most valuable things you can do for your business, because then you can use that same system and process to hire the next client success person and the next one and keep refining it. I think another thing to keep in mind, ideally that first hire should have somehow an entrepreneurial mindset, because they need to come and look at your product and service and think, how can I make this better? How can I look at whatever was built before I joined the company and think that this is my offer and I want to make this offer as good as possible? So you might need to find someone special for that first hire, but you don't need to be a perfectionist. Just find someone who is willing to grow with you, and you might need to be willing to give them a little bit of the upside that you might not give to the remaining future hires that you're going to make. But for that first one, I think it would be critical and super crucial if you want to go down that route.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Do you want to talk about, how many clients, revenue, capacity, some of those things?
Yeah, I think it's really hard for me to think about revenue. I know that people want to use revenue benchmarks to when to hire. I would use profitability in clients as a better benchmark to basically think when to hire. I think when you're bringing double digits of new clients, you're kind of late already to do that hire. So if you're consistently bringing 3 to 5 clients a month, you should start thinking about bringing someone else. So if you have a roster of 15, even 12 clients, I mean, considering that you have to find someone, onboard someone, train someone, it can take a couple months for that person to be at full speed. So the sooner the better. So you need to have, of course, consistent lead flow, consistently bringing new clients, but at the same time, don't wait till you're bringing 40, 50, 60 clients a month to address that. Because we see that a lot. People that are bringing 20, 30, 40, 100 clients a month. They don't have a client success team. They just got someone that can deliver on their behalf. And then they're not delivering at the same level of quality they were doing before. And now they're reacting. Their approach is reactive because what they're trying to do is to avoid refunds, churn, cancellations, lack of results. And that could have been prevented by hiring the right person at the right time to help them build things to a level where they can actually have a system that has capacity to onboard dozens of clients a month.
Yeah. And just to bring in another mistake we see, right? So, okay, now we're going to hire, but our tracking sucks, right? Mm-hmm. That's almost 100% of the time. Now, we're not going to sit here and say you have to have perfect tracking before you hire. That's not the point. But to do those things simultaneously would be really smart, to upgrade your tracking so that you can see things like how bought in are our clients, how quickly are they getting, to value, how quickly are they getting to result, what percentage of our clients are actually successful. where is the drop off happening in our client journey? Where are we churning clients? If you don't have that data, you better get it in place like really quickly. Because when the owner is super hands on, they can kind of force their way, brute force their way to less churn and saving refunds and stuff. But once you start hiring, you've got to have data and tracking in place to be able to make good decisions and even to know when do we need to hire next, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where quality control is a big piece when hiring someone. One of the things we've seen the most is like owners reach out to us and say, hey, my team isn't great, my team isn't performing. So it means that they already started building a client success team. And we asked them, like, show us the numbers, show us the KPI, what's your quality control process? I don't have any. So it's hard for me to agree with them because I'm just making those decisions based on emotions. And I would rather have information that help me make decisions based on data, not on emotions. And again, I trust you as an owner to believe that you can do a great job at delivering your clients a great experience. But we all know that you're not scalable. And if you're doing all of that and you're not doing sales, you're going to reach a point that you cannot grow beyond that. So you need to find someone that can actually do that without burning you out. So when I say QC here, it's important to know what KPIs we have for our team. It's our team, assuming that you now have multiple people in your client success team, are they adhering to the system you have built for them to deliver? So QC is nothing more than adherence to a system you have created that is repeatable and creates predictable results for your clients from a results standpoint. Making sure we have the right KPIs so we can support our team and make sure they're meeting those KPIs. Because again, if you have a team of 3 and all of them miss KPIs, do you think it's a problem one of them has?
Right.
No, either the wrong benchmark or a systems issue. So we're not going to address that on a one-on-one level. We're going to address that globally. We either have to fix the system and how we're delivering to our clients, or we need to define a new benchmark that is a little bit more realistic.
Well, and on adherence, I had a conversation with an owner yesterday and we got a post in our school group. And, the owner I was talking to, they were saying, well, we use Airtable, but our coaches don't really use it. And so we don't have the data. And then, someone posted in our school group, like, we're setting revenue generating activities, but the coaches aren't really like striving toward them. So I think, yes, the system has to be good and there has to be easy to use, not take a lot of time. So the friction has to be low with the system, right? But I think one of the big things that owners miss is creating a why for the team around like, why do I need to do this? Right? Oh, if I do this, I could make more money, just as an example. So owners often forget to tie together, like, we need you to adhere to this and it's going to benefit you and the company, not just the company, right?
And again, we go back to classic conditioning, human behavior 101. We all need rewards. I don't want to use the word punishment. I'm going to use the word consequences because it sounds a little bit better. So anything you expect your team to do, you need to have both. And when I think about building a client success team, of course, you have a baseline benchmark for all those number of KPIs, which is basically if you don't perform within those KPIs, you're not going to keep your job, which is absolutely fine. If you think that's doable and achievable, perfectly fine. If everyone else is doing it and this specific client success person is not, maybe they're not the right person or they don't get enough support from you to be at those specific KPIs. But then we need to think about rewarding them. This is where you think about like their own track earnings. You think about other things as an example, how you can give them a percentage of the revenue they're generating and things like that. So we need a little bit of both. One is like, how can you keep you above water? And then after that, how can you thrive on top of that? And that first hire probably is going to be the one that gets the most incentives. And who knows, maybe they're built in a way that they can become the head of client success or the client success director because they have built the system in a way that they now can coach on board and train others to do the same. But again, like Ben was saying, if you don't have a tracking system in place to monitor all of that, you're going to have a really hard time to first know that your team is performing, second, supporting them when they're not, and third, how can you actually know if your client success team is a profit center?
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about some of the objections, right? It's too expensive. Talent's hard to find. Our acquisition is up and down. We're just hiring clients as CSMs, and that's not going so great. I know people who just run group calls as their support system. Like, why do I need CSMs? So, you want to just start tackling some of those objections we hear.
Yep. Yeah, like the is too expensive. I understand you look at CSMs as being an expense. And that's one of the curses in our space that I think I've seen in other verticals as well. At the beginning, when people thought about client success teams, they always look at client success teams as an expense. And don't get me wrong, I understand the belief, but think about all actions that are going to be driven by that belief. If you think client success is an expense, what are you going to do? You're going to save on client success because you want to save on those expenses. But we've done this multiple times, so many times over the years, that if you do it well, it's an investment. It's actually probably a higher ROI than some of the ads you're running at the moment if you're running ads to get new clients. Because when done well, a client success team can generate revenue through testimonials, which is going to help you with social proof and get more clients in the door. They're going to help you with referrals, meaning that you're going to get free leads and free prospects that can become clients without you having to run any other acquisition channels. And also, they're going to help retain those clients for longer, meaning that we're going to increase client lifetime value, which means you basically get more money from each client that is working with you. The churn and burn process is not going to last for long. We're at the point in this industry, the online service industry, where skepticism is super high. People already don't trust most of the offers they see out there. So the best way for you to overcome that is by keeping your clients for as long as possible so that you need less clients to hit the revenue goals you have for your company. That's going to create sustainability and is going to help you go through this part of the market skepticism we're all observing in a way that makes your business sustainable and you don't get out of business. That would be number one. Change your mindset from thinking it's too expensive to actually, how can I invest in these client success managers so that they can make multiples of whatever I'm paying them? We use a term internally that each CSM should be at least self-liquidating, meaning that if each CSM generates at least, as a bare minimum, enough revenue through some of these activities I just talked about to cover their salary, that CSM is actually free. Meaning that you just got someone in your team that can take you out of fulfillment. They can find ways to pay for themselves through their revenue generating activities, and then you can double down on sales and marketing, meaning that you can grow much faster. That's number one. But when they do multiples on whatever they're being paid, that's where you achieve basically exponential growth.
Yeah. The second one I can hit up because we work on placements a lot, right, with our clients. And in the last 6 to 8 months, there's maybe been one placement that we've done out of dozens that's taken longer than 30 days to get the hire. And we're not just getting like, oh, this person's okay, we're going to hire them. We're getting, hey, Emily, who's our recruiter, this is the message from the client. Hey, Emily, these candidates are amazing. We're having a tough time choosing which one to hire.
Can I hire two instead of one?
Yeah, can I hire two? Yeah, sometimes we get that. So right now in the marketplace, there is a ton of talent. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to do recruiting, internally as a company. If you have a system and do that, that's great. But you have to have a good recruiting system and a good recruiter. Thankfully, we have Emily, who's she's a superstar among the other superstars on our team. But there's plenty of talent out there, especially with all that's going on in the corporate world. There's so much talent. People want the flexibility of the online space. So that is not even an issue. And we're in the trenches, on the front lines of the placements that are happening.
Yeah. And again, I think one of the other things we hear is like, oh, but like, what if I go and hire one or multiple people to help me with delivery, but my acquisition is very inconsistent?
Yeah.
I only have a question around that. Do you believe if you would double down on acquisition yourself as the owner of the company, would it be better? If the answer is yet, do it. Hire someone that can help you with delivery, train them well so they can manage 80 to 90% of that. And by you pouring into acquisition, you're going to, again, make it a little bit more consistent. You're probably going to increase the number of new clients you bring on a month. And then that person, if embodies the self-liquidating idea, they're going to generate more money out of those new clients that you're bringing on board. So it's a flywheel that you're creating. So I think if you have that objection in your brain, maybe you're not aware of it, and now that we're stating it, you think, oh, I actually thought about that. That's fine. But think about, if I'm going to change my energy and put my energy in another place, is that energy going to generate more? Because if yes, that's your next step.
Yeah.
And I think another thing we've heard, and I think for me, my opinion, I'm a little bit more harsher on this one. It's like, oh, I have a client success team. We just hire our best students. And I listen to that more when we're talking about BSOP offers, more than anything else. And for me, if I'm going to double down on BSOP offers, that's a huge mistake. And let me tell you why. Let's just go to the core of the belief that got them to become a client firsthand. They want to make more money. That's the nature of a BSOP offer. BSOP offers are offers that promise a client some kind of a business in a box or something that can help them make money. Let's talk about multiple offers you've seen out there, like Ecom, Amazon FBA, Airbnb. All those ideas are types of BSOP offers, and nothing against that. I think it's good that you have those offers, and if your clients are successful, you're doing great for your clients. But if those clients came to you because they want to make more money, so money is the key driver thing for them, if you offer them a position, they're going to say yes because they believe they can make more money out of your offer than the money they're making out of learning how to make money from your learnings and teachings. Yeah. So whenever they have a better opportunity to make more money, they're going to leave. So they're probably going to be less loyal than someone else you could find elsewhere. That's number one. Number two is that if your offer is teaching them how to be successful and they're making with money with what you're teaching, do they want to say yes to what you're offering to work for you? That's kind of weird. So when people say we're hiring our best students, no, your best students shouldn't be up for hiring. First of all, with the offer. So normally when I dig a little bit deeper, and don't take this personally, I'm just being very transparent here. When I dig deeper, they don't hire their best students. They hire nice people that want to make money and see this as an opportunity. Nothing wrong with that, but let's reset expectations. So you're not hiring your best student, meaning that didn't show up in a way that made them successful in your program. What will make them a great CSM if they're not even able to accomplish success themselves? They're not going to have, again, the belief and the conviction to coach their clients to get them to success. And then I think the third part of it is that people think they need to hire experts and technicians within their pool of people in order for them to help clients be successful. And that's, again, absolutely wrong. Most companies in the online world, they have some form of support channel that includes a training portal. So there is some kind of learning management software where your clients can go through and learn a couple things while working alongside your team. Maybe your program is and your offer is different. That's fine. But in general speaking, it's coaching or consulting with an info product supporting it. So if your info product was built right to help your clients go from A to B and see success, wouldn't your CSM be able to learn that if they go through the same process? So you need to hire a CSM who knows everything, or can you just get someone who's really good at coaching and supporting clients, who's really great at tracking and hitting KPIs, who's really good at understanding relationships, and then they can learn the details by just going through the training themselves?
Yeah. And we also sometimes help clients with a hybrid model where you have a couple of experts and the CSMs do most of the relationship management, but the experts are there when something needs to be escalated. When the CSM can't necessarily answer the question, or you just need someone with more experience, then you have a couple experts around, but they're not your CSMs. They're not usually full-time. So, and let's just hit one last point before we wrap. I know people who have scaled with just a product and no support or minimal support.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand timing matters. 10 years ago, yeah, most probably a lot of people did well with info products with no coaching, no support, maybe a couple of group calls a week. But we need to understand that the market changes and reality changes as well. Our attention spans are at its lowest. Means that clients have a very, very small attention span. Secondly, because skepticism is at its highest, we're not going to get buy-in from the get-go. So if you give someone a product and you're just going to pray that they're going to do well, that's fine. It's up to you to understand the risk you're taking. But at the same time, if you're charging high ticket, you're charging premium prices, you need to understand that there's an expectation in your client's mind that you're going to deliver a premium experience. And just giving them a product, thinking you're the only one who has a product in this world, it's very, very faulty mindset, because information is not lacking nowadays. You can just go on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you want to go, and just search for the topics you want to learn. And there will be plenty of information from experts available for free. What your clients want is someone that can help them with consumption, basically learning and implementing what they're learning. This is why I do believe, I'm very biased, but I do believe that CSMs, client success managers, account managers, and people that can build your client success department are critical. Without them, it's going to be hard for you to have someone that can onboard the clients, set the right expectations, have specific feedback loops throughout the journey to make sure they're learning the right things and implementing the right things and making the necessary changes to make sure they're on track to accomplish whatever goals they had initially when they started working with you. And then last but not least, if you don't have someone supporting delivery, how can you collect feedback to make your product and service better? You're just going to rely on clients who give you feedback, you're going to be dealing with a lot of trouble. Why? Because the ones that are willing to give you feedback typically are the ones that are unhappy. Yeah. So you're going to use the wrong feedback to change your product because you're not listening to the ones who are actually happy. Because how would you know they're happy? You don't know. You don't have anyone like interfacing with them and supporting them. There are multiple models on how you can build a CSM team and a client success team. And we have specific podcast episodes on season 1 where we talk about it multiple times. But I think for you, in a nutshell, if you're thinking about doing it and you look at some of the things we discussed today, do it. You're not going to regret it. Worst case scenario, 2 months from now, you made a small investment, you got someone on board, they help you implement a couple of new systems, and they're not going to stay with you, but at least you're going to be in a much better position because you got some of your time back, some of your energy back, probably you poured that energy into acquisition. You got a bunch more clients to go through your journey, a couple more systems in place. Probably you guys worked on tracking. So you're going to be in a much better position. And then you can think about what's the right model for me, because there are multiple models. There is no one size fits all. But one thing I know, expecting to just use an info product, package it as a coaching or consulting experience, and that's not what's being delivered to your clients, is going to lead to a lot of trouble.
Yeah. All right, Flew. That's it for season 2, episode 1. Next time, we're going to be answering the question, should you productize your services? So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ethical Scaling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights and laughter. If you enjoyed today's show, spread the love, leave us a review, and share this podcast with fellow business enthusiasts. And let's create a ripple effect of ethical growth together. Until next time, keep scaling ethically, dreaming big, and finding joy in the journey. Now, Jay and Ben are signing off. Cheers.